Former teammates of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being very reluctant to call for his head. Rio Ferdinand breaking that trend this week, saying the showing with the squad he accumulated to the beginning of this season and what I've seen this season, I just feel that maybe it might be the time now for the baton to be handed over to someone else who can take us on. Mark, I don't think I ever remember this sort of situation where former players seem to have so much power as regarding the future of a manager. Is this being blown up more than it actually is?
What Rio's comments or Solskjaer's future? I think Rio's comments. It is unusual for Man United players that have played with Ole to say that he's not up to the job. But I think one or two have been very close to crossing that line recently. I think Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, even Gary Neville have said things that have pointed towards the need for change without saying directly they need change. But clearly, Man United do need change. And whether it's in the manager's office or in the coaching department, I think that's one area that people haven't quite looked at, is the poverty of United's coaching options and the squad, the coaching team that he's built up. I think
Mark, does it really matter? Does it matter what these players are saying? Does it make any difference to anything, or is it just kind of being blown up? Because the rhetoric is, well, basically the media are supporting him because most of the media are former Manchester United players. That's why he's been given a chance. No,
look, ultimately it's down to Joe Glazer, Abraham Glazer and Ed Woodward, and that's almost like the Holy Trinity at Man United. They decide, and they're deciding right now that Ole doesn't need to go. They believe that for whatever reason he's the right man for the job. Now, it's not blind faith. I think they do accept that things aren't going well, but I think they've looked around and decided that there's nobody out there who could come in right now and do what they need them to do. They clearly weren't keen on Antonio Conte, and beyond that, I don't think Zinedine Zidane's an option. And you look around and they're probably thinking, well, who can we bring in? There's no Ole Gunnar Solskjaer type interim manager out there that United could bring in, and it's not great. A club of Man United stature should have a list of coaches, 6 months in advance of anyone going, just so they know they have a plan. They don't have a plan. They haven't had a plan for 8 years, and that's the problem that they're facing now. That every department of the club needs better talent and better quality there. Starting with the manager.
What a mess it is, Craig.
Yeah, but it's not a surprise, is it? And look, in terms of the quotes, and it's a bit like asking for the lifeboats to be manned after the ship's submerged, isn't it? I mean, it's all, whatever it's worth, it's all a bit late. All this squirming around from these ex-Man United players could really have been put to bed, and it has been the talk of the town among some woke journalists that, should so-and-so be suggesting this or suggesting that? If the presenters on the relevant networks had asked the right damn questions, we'd have got more clarity. It's quite simple. After one of these debacles, a presenter asks a pundit, is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and bearing in mind how big Man United are, they are a story, is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the right man to be managing Manchester United? The answer is yes or no. That's crystal clear. If you're in the yes category, then fine. And if you're in the no category, then fine. At least you've laid your cards on the table. I don't think that's difficult. And I think if people ask the right questions, we don't have all this squirming around, which has almost been as embarrassing as Solskjaer and the performances themselves. But Oggie's right. The tide has turned. We're not going to see, and it's neither here nor there if people come out and say it should be sacked, it should be replaced, it should be this. But we've all got a job to do. We can all sit in the fence, we can all sit here and fudge stuff if we want, but ultimately we're paid to give an opinion, whether it's Solskjaer, whether it's Lampard, whether it's Tuchel, whether it's Klopp. It's the part of the job that's not the nice part, but it has to be done. And clearly here, he, as I've said 100 times this week alone, he's out his depth.
What are the fans saying, Mark?
Well, I travelled back from Bergamo last week on a couple of flights for United fans. It's interesting, collectively they won't break ranks and call for Ole to go, but individually there was fans come up to me at the airport saying, when's he going to go, what's happening, why are they not sacking him? And these are United fans that have been, long-time United fans. They want him to go, but they do see him as a legend in the club. He's quite a popular figure, but they don't want to come out and, collectively call for him to go. But it's very hard to find United fans right now who believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should stay. I think they're worried that they pin it on the Glazers, basically. They pin it on the Glazers and Woodward for not having the foresight to pick a coach that is able to take United where they need to be. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is just not equipped to manage Man United. He really isn't, and it was quite sad at the weekend to watch him being humiliated and ridiculed by the Man City fans after being ridiculed and humiliated by the Liverpool fans 2 weeks before. He's a good guy, Ole. He's not a nasty guy. He's not somebody that would fall out with people, but ultimately he's not cut out for the job. It's like having students at university being taught by secondary school teachers. He's just not cut out for the job at Man United. He really isn't.
You look at the fixtures that are coming up, Stevie. Does it even matter? Has the damage already been done?
Well, the damage has been done, yes. And it does matter that, particularly, you look at the Chelsea game and they don't get humiliated again. So, yes, it matters. The way his team plays between now and the rest of the season, basically, will depend on how long he stays in the job. Because if they get humiliated at Chelsea... Right. There can be no reason. You won't be... I don't think you'll be able to turn around again and say, well, there's nobody to take over and there's no...
Didn't we say that after Liverpool, though? If they get humiliated against City, then that'll be that. And they did get humiliated.
But we knew that it's going to take something extraordinary for the Glazers to sack him. But surely a third embarrassment in the trot against your three main rivals has to be the last straw. Surely. You can't come up with another reason to keep him, can you?
Here's the thing for me. This is how far Manchester United's bar has fallen. Keep in mind, we talk about a Manchester United that finished second last season. We're no longer talking about whether Manchester United can compete for the title or major titles. We're barely talking about whether Manchester United are going to finish top 4. Our discussion now around Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's future is whether they're going to get embarrassed again. That's how far Manchester United has fallen. The fact that we're having this conversation is evidence enough that he's out of his depth.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.